So here we look at adding and subtracting vectors graphically, and then we'll look at that algebraically. So let's say that we were adding vector v plus vector w. All right, so here's vector v. I've got a couple of vector w's, and then I've got a z for later down here. So the way you add vectors is you put your first vector on your grid, the way you add them graphically. And now we want to add w. So I'm going to pick up w. I add w at the end of vector v. Okay, so this is vector v. This is vector w. And then to find the result of that, we actually call that the resultant vector. The sum of two or more vectors is the resultant vector. And it's from the beginning of the first vector, that's the initial point, to the end of the last vector, that's the terminal point. So here is the resultant vector for v plus w. So a lot of times we'll label that with an R. All right, let's say we wanted to do vector w minus vector v. Well, here's vector w. Remember that minus vector v would be the same as adding the opposite of vector v, and I happen to have a opposite of vector v down here just to verify it. See, it's same magnitude, opposite direction. So I'll add it to the end there. And the resultant would be from the beginning of the first vector drawn to the end of the last vector. So there is our resultant. Okay? Then the last one we have is vector v plus vector w plus vector z. So let's add vector v plus vector w plus vector z. Notice the different notation. I used a bold one there just to kind of mix it up some. So here's vector v. I'm just trying to get it in a place where I'll have enough room for this, maybe here. Plus vector w plus vector z. Remember, it's going to go on the end of the last vector. Okay, so there's v plus w plus z. My resultant vector will be from the beginning of the first vector to the end of the last vector. So there is my resultant.